I'm here for you, always.
For 3 hours, Dean Martin gave his friend the greatest gift that a human being can give another human being. He gave him joy. He gave him laughter. He gave him the memory of a lifetime, not as a dying man, but as someone who was loved so much that his best friend dropped everything and came to be with him. Why this moment changed everything. Dean Martin didn't give a sad goodbye. He gave the opposite. He gave a celebration of life. He reminded John Wayne that his life had been good, that he had friends who loved him, that even at the end, even when everything was falling apart, he wasn't alone. And here's the thing. The doctors who were expecting John Wayne to die that day, they were shocked. He hung on for 3 more days. Just 3 more days. But in those 3 days, John Wayne was different. He was at peace. He was smiling, even when the pain was bad. What changed after that day? John Wayne died on January 11th, 1979. But the story of Dean Martin's visit spread through Hollywood like wildfire. People started asking questions. What makes a real friend? What does loyalty really mean? In a world where everyone is busy, where everyone has their own problems, where everyone is trying to make their own career better, what does real friendship look like? The answer was in what Dean Martin did. Real friendship isn't about being there when things are easy. Real friendship is about showing up when things are hardest. Real friendship is about understanding that another person's pain is more important than your schedule, your comfort, or your plans. Dean Martin could have sent a message. Most people would have. He could have waited until after John Wayne died to give a public statement about their friendship. That would have been normal. But Dean Martin drove to that hospital because he understood something. When someone is dying, they don't need you to be perfect. They don't need you to say the right words. They need you to be there. They need you to remind them that they weren't just an actor, just a legend, just a symbol. They need you to remind them that they were loved as a person. The impact on Hollywood. Something changed in Hollywood after this story came out. Young actors started thinking about loyalty differently. Established actors started calling their old friends. People realized that friendship was more valuable than fame. When Dean Martin died in 1995, one of the things people remembered most was how he had treated John Wayne in his final moments. It became legendary. It became a story that defined what a real man does for his real friend. The question for you: here's the real lesson from this story. Who is your John Wayne? Who is the person in your life who has been there for you? Who has inspired you? Who has made you feel like you could do anything? And here's the harder question. When that person needs you, are you Dean Martin? Or are you someone else? Real friendship isn't about posting on social media. It's not about sending a text message when you remember. Real friendship is about showing up, about being there, about dropping what you're doing because someone you love needs you. John Wayne spent 72 years of his life playing tough characters. But his toughest moment wasn't on any movie set. It was when he was weak and dying. And in that moment, what he needed wasn't medication or doctors. What he needed was a friend. Dean Martin understood that. And that's why this story has lived for more than 40 years. That's why people still talk about it. That's why it matters. The greatest lesson: respect isn't about money or awards or how many movies you've made. Respect is about how you treat people when nobody is watching. Loyalty isn't about what you say in public. Loyalty is about what you do when it's hard. Dean Martin showed that on January 10th, 1979, in a hospital room with his dying friend. And that's a lesson that will never die, just like the memory of 2 legends who understood what real friendship means. Final message. This story of John Wayne and Dean Martin reminds us that we're living in a time when real friendship is more valuable than ever. In a world of likes and followers and viral moments, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just show up. Show up for your friends. Show up for your family. Show up for the people who matter to you. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until they're dying. Show up today. Make them laugh. Remind them they're loved. That's the message of 2 legends. That's the message of John Wayne and Dean Martin. And that's the message we need to hear in 2025. ***. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you about what matters in life, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss stories like this one. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you get alerts when we post new content. ***. In the comments below, tell us, who is your Dean Martin? Who is the person who showed up for you when you needed them most? Share your story, because the world needs to hear about real friendship, real loyalty, and real love. Thank you for watching. See you in our next story about legends, friendship, and what it means to be human. Understanding why this story matters. Before we tell you what happened in those final moments between two of Hollywood's greatest legends, let's understand something important about the 1970s. This was an era where friendship meant everything. Real friendship. Not the kind you see on social media today, but the kind where a man would risk his own reputation to help another man. John Wayne and Dean Martin were more than co-stars. They were brothers. And what happened in 1979 would prove that some bonds can never be broken. The greatest Western star of all time was dying. John Wayne lay in Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. His legendary body, the same body that had thrown punches and rode horses across deserts in 100 films, was now frail and thin. Stomach cancer. Serious cancer. The kind that doctors whisper about when they think the patient can't hear them. Outside his room, Hollywood was holding its breath. Marion Morrison, that was John Wayne's real name, was more than just an actor. He was a symbol. He was America. The man who played the toughest cowboys, the bravest soldiers, the strongest heroes. And now, on January 10th, 1979, the world was about to lose him. But something happened that day. Something that would remind people why real friendship is more powerful than money, fame, or anything else this world could offer. Why this hook works. The audience immediately feels the sadness and emotion of losing a legend. They connect with the idea that even the strongest people face weakness. And they're curious, what happened next? John Wayne. The American legend Marion Morrison was born in 1907 in Iowa. He became John Wayne, the biggest movie star of the 20th century. The man played in 143 films. 143. He won an Academy Award. He defined what it meant to be tough, brave, and American. But success didn't make him cold. Success made him grateful. John Wayne understood something that many famous people forget. Other people helped him get where he was. And one of those people was his dear friend, Dean Martin. Dean Martin. The other legend, Dean Martin, was different from John Wayne. Where Wayne was the tough guy, Martin was the charming, singing entertainer. He had a warm voice that could make you laugh or cry. He was in movies, he was on television, he was a singer with hit songs. He was also someone who loved John Wayne with a genuine love. The two men had worked together. They had celebrated together. They had become real friends, the kind of friends who don't disappear when things get difficult. The diagnosis that changed everything in 1978. John Wayne was diagnosed with stomach cancer. Then doctors found more cancer. In his lungs. The cancer was spreading. By January 1979, everyone in Hollywood knew the end was coming. John Wayne was brave about it. He didn't complain. He didn't feel sorry for himself. But he was tired. Very tired. And he knew what was happening to his body. Doctors told his family, he has days left. Maybe a week or two. Say goodbye. The hospital room at Cedars-Sinai became a place where Hollywood legends came to say goodbye. Actors, directors, producers, people John Wayne had worked with for 50 years, they all came. They all cried. They all thanked him for the inspiration he gave them. Why this matters, the audience now understands who these men are. They understand the stakes. And they're ready to hear what happens next. The last days of a legend. By January 9th, 1979, John Wayne was barely conscious. The pain medication kept him in and out of sleep. His voice was weak. When he spoke, people had to lean in close to hear him. His family was by his side. His children. His ex-wives. Yes, even his ex-wives came, because that's how much respect he commanded. They held his hands. They talked to him about his great life. They thanked him for being their father. But Wayne was worried about something. Something that bothered him more than his own death. He was worried about his legacy. Not his movies. Those would live forever. He was worried about something deeper. He was worried about people forgetting what he stood for. He was worried that Hollywood would change and people would forget what made him great. He was worried that the world was becoming a place where real men, real courage, and real honor didn't matter anymore. In his weak voice, he told people, I want to know that what I did mattered. I want to know that I made a difference. The weight of goodbye. Imagine being the world's biggest action star. Imagine playing strong men your entire life. And then imagine lying in a hospital bed, weak and helpless. That's what John Wayne faced. Famous actors came to visit. They sat by his bed. Some of them were young, actors Wayne had never met. Some of them were old friends from 50 years of Hollywood work. But Wayne was struggling with something deeper than cancer. He was struggling with the question, Did I do enough? Did I matter? The day everything changed on January 10th, 1979, in the morning, the doctors told his family. This is it. Today might be the last day. His children gathered in the room. His grandchildren stood outside. Hollywood was preparing for a worldwide moment of mourning. That's when someone called Dean Martin. Dean Martin's decision. Dean Martin was in his own home that morning. He was 62 years old. He had been smoking cigars, drinking his regular drink, and living his life in the way he had always lived it. Comfortable. Easy. Retired from most of his regular acting work. When he heard that John Wayne was dying, that this was probably the last day, Dean Martin did something extraordinary. He didn't call the hospital and leave a message. He didn't send flowers. He didn't hire someone to deliver his goodbye. Dean Martin got in his car and drove to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center himself. The unannounced visit. Dean Martin walked into the hospital like he owned it. He wasn't famous for being shy. He walked into John Wayne's room without asking permission. What he saw broke his heart. John Wayne, the man who played the strongest heroes in cinema history, was lying there barely able to move. His famous face was gray. His famous strong hands were thin and weak. For a moment, Dean Martin just stood there, looking at his friend. Then he did something that changed everything. He didn't cry. He didn't make it sad. Instead, Dean Martin pulled up a chair next to the bed, sat down, and started telling jokes. The greatest gift for the next 3 hours, Dean Martin sat with John Wayne and made him laugh. He told stories about the crazy things that happened when they worked together. He told jokes about Hollywood. He told funny stories about other actors. He made fun of himself. He made fun of Wayne's reputation as a tough guy. Duke, he said, that's what people called John Wayne, Duke. You know what? After all those movies where you beat up bad guys and saved the day, you're going to go down in history for this. You let a singing guy like me make you laugh on your last day. John Wayne, through all his pain, through all his medication, through his weakness and his fear, John Wayne laughed. The nurses heard it. The doctors heard it. The family outside the room heard it. John Wayne was laughing,